Alright folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a big boomer for you here. Thanks again for tuning in. Trying to make this the best custom handgun channel there is on the net. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll keep bringing cool custom guns to show you. Today is a customized Ruger Blackhawk Bisley built by Jack Huntington, JRH Advanced Pistol Smithing, out of the Carson City area in Nevada. Jack's been building guns for many years. I believe he's started in the late 80s or mid 80s. He's very well known for his custom Ruger revolvers. He also does custom Smith & Wesson revolvers. They really are a full service shop. I think he's got 6 or 7 guys working there for him. They do the full gamut from custom bolt action rifles to simple gunsmithing repair type work, all the way up to full house customs like this in the more exotic realm. It's not the first JRH gun I've had. I had a neat little 38 special single 6 some time ago. You may note that the single 6 was not offered in 38 special, and it wasn't, but industrious pistol smiths have been converting them to center fire and 38 special for some time. Mostly 5-shot guns on the single 6 frame, although I believe Ronnie Wells is currently playing around with, if not producing, 6-shot single 6s. Jack's perhaps best known for his development of powerful handgun cartridges and the building of the guns that those go in. This is one example. This gun is chambered in his cartridge, the 500 JRH. The 500 JRH was first cooked up by Jack and his apprentice in about 1993. They were pushing to see if they could get a 50 caliber cartridge in a Freedom Arms Model 83. The struggle with the Freedom Arms and a 50 caliber cartridge is the way the ratchet is located and built on the cylinder doesn't allow for the 500 line ball, which had been invented. John Lineball came out with that in about 86, 87. Of course, Lineball was building those on large frame Rugers, and he, of course, was having to open the window to get that done, to get it to fit. So there really wasn't a 50 caliber cartridge in the 90s that you could put in a Freedom Arms Model 83. And the Freedom Arms was kind of the top of the heap, and still is, for a production revolver, single action revolver. Oddly enough, I bought an 83 with the intent of sending it to Jack to have a 500 built. And who knows, I still may. It's sitting on my bench now as I look across the shop. But this gun became available, so I picked this gun up and intend to play with it a little bit and see how me and the cartridge get along. I have shot it. The gun shoots very well. As you can imagine, is a bit of a brute. I've only shot 400 grain bullets in it so far. I didn't get my chronograph out, but they should have been going 1,000, 1,100 feet a second. But I had no problem keeping them in a 2-inch square at 10 or 15 paces offhand. So the gun is certainly capable, and you can feel that in just working the action. The action's totally reworked on this. 1, to convert it to a 5-shot, and 2, to just tighten everything up. There's no movement in that cylinder, front to back, side to side, any direction. The trigger is very crisp and clean. The barrel is a custom arrangement that they machine in-house. It is a bull profile, 5.5 inches. The band is integral to the barrel, and the front sight looks to be soldered on top of all that. The front sight base is nicely dressed with a couple of flutes running down it to just give it a custom look. The front sight base, I don't know if the camera will focus here, you'll see a set screw there, nod to Freedom Arms. This is converted to take Freedom Arms blades, and I'll be putting a Patridge front blade on this, as that is my preference. The rear sight on this is one of Hamilton Bowen's units with a white outline. That I'll probably replace to an all black one. Again, just my preference. The grips, this is a Bisley grip frame, as you can see. The grips are nice walnut. They are made by Huntington shop as well. For recoil management, you really want a grip that's a nice wide grip up here at the top, and this grip narrows slightly at the bottom. You don't really want a lot of swoopy palm swells and craziness. You want a grip that fills your hand and gives you as much surface area at the back to help mitigate that recoil going into your hand and arm. I didn't really notice much in my arm shooting it. I certainly noticed a little bit of knuckle hit as you fire it, the trigger guard recoiling into the middle finger knuckle, and that can somewhat be mitigated by gripping the gun a little lower and a little tighter back, and just letting it come up and recoil and not trying to manhandle this thing. And that's something that certainly comes with practice, shooting these big bores. More on the cartridge. So Lineball developed his 500 in '86. Huntington and his shop apprentice, developed the 500 JRH in the '90s. Brass availability pretty much sidelined the idea. 500 Lineball brass was not viable because it was used a 1 because it wouldn't fit in a Freedom Arms 83, and 2 because it uses a 510 bullet. And that was another problem the JRH cartridge would set out to solve, is certain states and locales you cannot own a firearm with bore diameter over 50 caliber, and a 510 is bigger than 50 caliber. So this would use the 500 diameter bullets and would fit in a Freedom Arms 83. So fast forward a little bit to the early 2000s. In 2003, Corbon, Starline, and Smith & Wesson came up with the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, which was a true 50 caliber cartridge. And Jack was right there on the front lines of that to get brass, and that brass he shortened to 1.4 inches. The 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum is a 1.625 inch case. The JRH is a 1.4 inch case. Also, the rims are slightly smaller on the JRH, but they can be made from 500 Smith & Wesson cases. The 500 Smith & Wesson case is a 0.556 inch diameter rim, and the 500 JRH is slightly smaller at 0.547. The 500 Smith & Wesson is a very capable cartridge. It cannot really be put in a small packable gun like this. I know lots of guys that bought the 4-inch and even shorter Smith & Wesson 500 Magnums. They're not a practical gun. They are a big, heavy piece of equipment. When compared to the standard offering from Smith & Wesson in the 500 Magnum to this gun right here is just under 3 pounds on my scale. The 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum in their standard offering is 4.4 pounds. That's no small thing. That's nearly 1.5 pounds heavier of a gun. Now, for a guy who wants to strictly hunt with it and stalk and kill something with the 500 Magnum, those guns make a lot of sense. For the guy who wants to carry a sidearm for defense against bears, buffaloes, and other angry game animals, this gun begins to make a lot more sense, and that's really where Jack, I think, wanted it to fit. To compare that to a mid-frame Bisley, same barrel length, this gun is only about 4 ounces lighter. It's a smaller frame. This is a 44 Special. So this gun, which everyone would agree is pretty packable, only comes in 4 ounces lighter than this behemoth. So the gun is pretty thought out. The cartridge is pretty thought out. I'm pretty happy with this acquisition. You know, the gun has lots of nice little touches on it. I haven't had it completely tore apart to kind of see what lurks beneath as far as modifications and customization is concerned. But I really like the small touches I see around the outside. And the checkering on the end of the ejector rod head. Of course, we've got a Keith number 5 style locking base pin. And while we're on the subject of Keith, the banded front sight, a lot of guys who I suppose haven't read too deep into the history of custom revolvers would tell you that Hamilton Bowen was probably one of the first guys to do that, but it was done way back in the 20s by, I believe it was Harold Croft, and probably others at the time. They were doing it certainly as a way to affix a front sight. The sight and band were soldered onto the barrel. And so you can find old articles written by Elmer Keith about those guns. The number 5 being, of course, you know, the pinnacle in Keith's day of the ultimate revolver, and the Croft 1 through 4 being the development to get to that. What else did I have to share with you? Oh, in 2011, to bring this cartridge all the way to the front lines here, in 2011, Magnum Research decided to start chambering their BFR in the 500 JRH. And so that makes, you know, the cartridge much more mainstream, having a major manufacturer building guns for it. And Buffalo Bore offers ammunition, as do a couple other small boutique loaders. So I don't expect the 500 JRH to go anywhere. Certainly for guys who want a average-sized single-action revolver that you know, has all of the power potential, knockdown power, big bore, etc. And this can be loaded from mild to wild. The 400 grain load I shot at 1,000 or 1,100 feet per second is pretty tame. Certainly you can push this gun a lot harder than that. It won't be pushed that hard in my ownership. Not a lot of bears or angry buffaloes or charging rhinoceros here in Northwest Ohio. But you know, you got to have a gun for that just in case, right? So I thank you guys for tuning in and sitting through this little history lesson on Jack Huntington, his cartridges, and the, I suppose, development of the 50 caliber single action revolver through the years. Appreciate you tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share the channel with your gun friends. We enjoy reading your comments and certainly learning from you guys as you're learning from me. I appreciate you all tuning in, and stay tuned for more videos, probably later this week, first part of next week. I've got some stuff on the docket here coming in, so thank you.